Okay. Hello, welcome back to Tea Talks with me, your host, Teaonalamb. I have a new guest, someone I honestly haven't spoken to in a hot minute. It's a really old friend. I know her as Natalia, but you guys are gonna know her as Bambi. Or Bambi Saw. I don't know how you want me to pronounce it. I just think of Leviosa when I look at that.
Bambi's fine.
So introduce yourself.
Well, yeah, my name's Natalia, but commonly go by Bambi just because I have this issue with my name where no one gets it right. Like, never, ever, even if they've known me for a while. It's always Natalie, Natasha, Nadia. No, there are
Hey.
so many variations that people call me. They never get it right. So I'm just like, here's an easy name. It's Bambi.
I am a deer.
I'm a little youngling, I'd say, kind of youngling. I'm aging though.
Aren't
Gross.
we all?
But I'm currently going into I'm not even gonna say it, but I'm in my last year of undergrad doing psych and criminology because
Oh, pop
love the brain.
off.
And I can't say I love criminals. I'm just fascinated by people's like deviant
I
behaviors.
love criminal.
So like short term, like right now I'm kind of like in my design girly era, so I'm doing I don't know. I'm hoping to do UX design straight out of undergrad, and then in the future, I want to go back
Ooh.
for my PhD in behavioral neuroscience. So that's like
Ooh. Pop the
I've
fuck
got I've,
off.
I've got goals. I'm not completely lost out here, but I still don't feel like I know what I'm
Goals.
doing.
That's good.
So
That's good. Congratulations. Proud of you. Um, so today, for today's podcast episode, I kind of wanted to go over a little more of a deeper topic than the previous episodes that you guys have already listened to. I've already talked about a few deep kind of topics before, but this kind of goes a little more like family deep. Oh, I kind of talked about family deep. I'd say
we're exposing family secrets out here.
like immigrant, child of an immigrant, like
Oh, yeah. It's
like just problems as I would say a first generation American. Yeah. Or first generation, because you're in
I'm Canadian.
Canada. Yeah. I was like, I remember you in Canada.
Oh, like
You're in Vancouver side, right?
no, I'm
You're
Toronto
BC.
side.
You're Toronto side.
Yeah, so
Ah.
that's New York side, okay? We're like
Yeah,
right
yeah,
above
yeah,
New
yeah, yeah,
York,
yeah.
so I'd love to go to
Um,
BC. That's like the one province on my bucket list. So
I remember in high school when I went to like Vancouver side, and then
yeah,
I was like, "Hey, yo, I'm in Canada," and you were like, "Which side?" And I was like, "Vancouver," and you were like, "Ew," and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
did I say you?
I remember you saying that shit to me, like,
I
"Ew,
think
BC, what the fuck?" And I'm like, "What the fuck is this?"
I feel like I might have said that as like a kind
I
of like,
mean,
oh, you didn't come to like Toronto,
you didn't
like you
come to
didn't come to
my
where I am.
side,
Yeah,
my
I,
block,
no,
bro.
but British
Hello.
Columbia is beautiful. Like, seen the
Oh my
mountains,
god. Yeah. Oh my god. It was so
love
pretty.
it. But
It was so pretty.
yeah, I know. Yeah, children of immigrant. I've lived in Canada most of my life. Like I'm not born here. I'm a citizen now, but like I've lived here most of my life, and so there's really just been that wrangle of what my family expects from culture back home versus integrating
Mm-hmm.
into Canadian society, and it's like
Mm. Okay,
and like
let's kind of go into like background then, right? Let's go into background of
okay,
like our parents. So my background's a little bit kind of all over the place. So my parents were born in Vietnam, South Side Vietnam, South Vietnam, war-ridden Vietnam, and so that is their home, that is their native land, that is what all of that's where their language comes from, their food, everything. But our bloodline itself comes from mainland China. So people from Guangdong, China, immigrated over to Vietnam to escape communism in China. And then communism, I guess, just followed them
yeah,
into Vietnam. So My parents know both the language. Their parents knew both the language, and like the traditions and the morals and things like that that were passed down have still been relatively both Chinese and Vietnamese, because of course Chinese from, you know, like ancestors, and then Vietnamese because of just the surroundings, right? It's not really like you can just forget one or like not do the other. Um, so then my parents are technically Chinese Vietnamese. I am Chinese Vietnamese American because I'm a first gen bitch. Um, and so I'd say that with like the mixing of everything, my parents like dealing with a war-ridden country, it just kind of like adds a lot to the top, you know. So that's my background. What's your background?
Okay, so you're coming, from Asia. I do have Asian like a background. So like I'm very like a multicultural mixed bitch. I mean, if you look at me, you're gonna feel like, oh, she's black. So like people, I've often get people like, if I tell them my country, which is Guyana, that's where I'm from, that's where my parents are from, they'll assume I said Ghana or something, and they're like, oh, you're from Africa, and I'm like, no, never been, haven't seen this, I haven't seen it. Or they'll assume I'm from the Caribbean, and while my
Because
country's
I'm
not like,
dark skinned, you thought I was from here.
no, yeah, it's just like, oh, I'm not, yeah, it's just like I'll say Guyana, and they'll go, oh, Ghana, and I'm like, no.
Did I say
and
Ghana?
and yeah, but like they'll also just like assume Caribbean, and while culturally
Mm.
Guyanese like are like Caribbean, like we are considered Caribbean, we're not geographically Caribbean. We're from South America,
Oh.
but we're like the
Mm.
only English speaking country there. So it's like a very, I don't know, want to say like isolated. Like it's just very different from all of South America, which mostly speaks Spanish. It's either Spanish, Portuguese,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
we've got
Yeah.
some Dutch and French in there. Um, but yeah,
Okay.
but on my mom's side, she's like, she's Indian, like that's their main thing. She's got a little bit of black in there. And then in Guyana, it's not like Native American, it's called Amerindian, which stands for American Indian, but it's more specifically, it's
Oh.
just natives that immigrated down there from up here. So, but they're
Uh-huh.
considered Amerindian. So it's kind of the same thing, but yeah, they've been living there for a while now.
Oh.
They're indigenous to the land, like they would be here in North America. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I've got that background on my mom's side, and then my dad's side, he's just like mainly black. And I do know there's heavy influences from Africa on his side, but I don't know too much about that. And then the odd kicker in there, the people like are always surprised about is Chinese. Like that's I've got Chinese on my
Hmm.
dad's side. My great great grandfather, very first president of the country I was born in, to Guyana. He's Chinese.
What?
If you
Hey,
Google him,
yo, no
Arthur
cap.
Chung, you'll see him.
No
If you
cap. Wait,
Google
wait.
Arthur Chung, you'll
Arthur?
see
Arthur,
Chung,
like, like, like,
like the
like the fucking
from
rat.
the, yeah, the aardvark. He's an aardvark.
Oh shit. Wait,
Arthur
Arthur
the aardvark
CH
Chung.
Chung.
Yes,
CHUNG.
yes, a very Chinese name.
Hey,
So
yo, what the fuck? What the fuck?
yeah, that's the one thing you could see it in my eyes. Actually, I've got very
Really? You got Asian ass
disproportionately.
eyes?
Yeah, I do. The monolid and
Say
everything.
it.
My mom wants. Wait,
Say it. You got chinky eyes.
you want to know something?
What's up?
Growing up, that's what everyone called me. Like they didn't
Ah, that's
understand like the
crazy.
kind of offensiveness of it. I would always
Yeah,
get called shiny eye or tinky eye. Like those were the two. I'm not
that's
even
so
kidding.
crazy. I was made fun
It's
of for my eyes when I was growing up too.
yeah. So, anyways, yeah, very
That is so
multicultural mixed
interesting.
background, and but mainly I'd say like it's just Caribbean influence. It's been the main thing that kind of like being
Mm.
a kid like from the Caribbean, and like if you want to
Mm-hmm.
think Jamaica, Barbados, like all those places
Mm.
there, that people know. I wouldn't say so much more the Latin side of the Caribbean, but still, yeah, the Caribbean. That's the biggest influence culturally for us.
Uh-huh.
So,
So it's just like melting pot of everything. You still gonna get beat like an
oh,
Asian, you know?
oh, definitely. And here's the thing too, like the ethnic makeup of Guyana is so diverse, and the two largest populations, like ethnically, is actually Indian and Chinese. Like those are the
Mm-hmm.
two largest populations there. And then I think
Damn.
black is like third or fourth, and that's black is like a whole umbrella for like African or North American and Caribbean. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then we've got
A
our
whole
indigenous
everything.
population. So it's just like a melting pot, but like, there's still, yeah, definitely the ass whoopings
You can't
Are
escape from
there,
that shit.
the certain punishments, it's just certain expectations of taking care of your family, like you're
Mm-hmm.
indebted to them basically. Like,
Fuck
I
that
brought you
shit,
to
but
this
yeah.
earth.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
Which I
I've done
will,
so much for you in this life. Like, like you gotta pay me back, and then yeah.
yeah. And so just talking about that, like I said, I was born in Guyana, so I like got raised with some of that more like stringent, strict culture, and then
Mm,
transitioning, moving here, they really wanted to uphold that into me. But now I've got younger siblings
hmm.
who were born in Canada, and
In
they are fully,
Canada. Mm-hmm.
yeah, they are fully Canadianized. They're very, the culture is just different with them. And it's sometimes I just sit here and seethe because I'm like,
You
you
lucky
guys
bitch. You
never,
lucky you are
yeah,
born
you
in this
never,
fucking country.
it's like you guys have never let me get away with these things. Like, what the hell? Like one of the things I could talk about right now, like I would have gotten my behind whooped for
uh,
walking with tops or like shorts that are considered too short. Anything above my knees was too short.
oh yeah,
My
facts.
sister right now, that's all she's rocking: crop top and
Damn.
shorts.
I mean, like
And
I'm
everyone's just
kind
like,
of doing that right now, but like mine are like not booty shorts. Mine are
"Oh
like
no,
boy
she's not
shorts,
in,
like or
she's
like.
not in booty shorts or anything, but they're like
Mm-hmm.
still from." That would have been too short for me, but with her, they're not. And I'm just
Like it's breaking school dress code.
that's funny over here. Like most schools, just like especially in my county, and this is a huge county. I didn't go to school at the same school my siblings did because we moved
Mm.
after I finished high school.
Mm-hmm.
But they got like back when I was in high school, yeah, they basically said, fuck a dress code. The only thing you can't do are clothing with offensive words, and we don't need to
Mm-hmm.
see your underwear. That was it. You could wear crop
Makes
tops, like
sense.
anything. You
Mm-hmm.
could do anything. It was just no offensive and no undergarments, and that was it. And honestly, most people were still pretty like conservative. As like the most girls would do was wear crop tops. You wouldn't really see booty shorts that much. I mean, we're in Canada, so we didn't have that
Mm.
many months of the year to be
Oh,
slutty.
Canada.
Honestly, our national anthem slaps. But yeah, it's just like that's one thing. It's just like the dressing. Like even now, my sister she'll get reprimanded for dressing a certain way, but it's nothing to the severity that I got. Like the yelling, the
Mm.
beatings, like for me it was like
Physical. Getting
yeah.
physical out here. We get
And that's
CPS called on them.
it's funny you mentioned that.
My mom has
I
got CPS called on.
yes. Ours is CES here, but they've definitely been in the house
Wait. So
multiple times.
what does that stand for?
CAS, it's like Canadian. I don't let me Google this, but it's CAS, not CPS over here.
Oh,
Um,
because CPS
I
stands
think
for
it's
Child
Children's
Protective.
Aid
Oh, Children's Aid
Society.
Services or Society.
Yeah,
Okay, mine CPS is Child Protective Services.
yeah.
But my
I'm pretty
mom
sure it's
had
like
CPS
yeah.
called on her when I was younger. My mom obviously doesn't
Google
want me
says
talking about it, but like.
it's saying chemical abstraction process. No, yes, Children's Aid Societies. That's what it is. So
Okay.
that's that's like
Chemical.
the general thing here in Canada. CES, and every province has their own little, you know, division of them and whatnot. But they've been involved, and I can like see that like turning point from the first time they were involved to that shift in how my family treated me, like
Uh-huh.
because the first time they got involved we still weren't like actual official citizens. We were still permanent residents here, and they were
Ooh,
just like,
that's even scarier. Holy fuck,
you
bro.
know their like immigration status, is
They're
basically
like,
being
wait, no, I don't need
threatened.
my
They're like,
kids. Let me stay in this country.
oh my god, they're like that's another thing I talk about. It's just like the way the 180, like people would become like they would
It's
come
like,
in, the workers would come in and be like,
actually.
they'd be like, you have such a lovely home. It's so nice. Your cupboards are full, like this and
Mm.
that. And I'm like,
Oh, bro.
it's
Like when a
it's
friend comes over and shit, they become like the nicest person. As soon as the door
oh
closes and they're
yeah.
gone, they yell and scream for every little thing that they like remember you doing during the time that, they couldn't yell at you. So you get
It's
even
just like
worse beating and all that.
it's So for me, like the beatings may have stopped, but the verbal abuse,
Oh
ugh,
yeah.
oh,
Oh yeah. Well,
crazy. It ramped up, okay, to compensate for the lack of the verbal and emotional
I can't hit you because you're an
manipulation.
adult. You know what? I'll hit you with my words.
And even so now, like becoming an adult, that emotional that's something like parental, like it's always been a thing from young, but even now it's even more so like prominent in my life, you know. It's just like all that I've done for you. How could you treat your family like this? Like there's just
Mm.
oh, they have these little words they like to jab, jab, jab.
Mm. Yeah, it's
Oh,
like.
and if
Mm.
one of my biggest thing too, like with that, is like always telling me, don't bring that white people nonsense in this house, or you can't be acting like your white friends. Or
Oh, I luckily don't deal with that. That's one thing
let me
I've
tell
not.
you, my family is like they're gonna, we can't be racist, blah blah blah. Like fuckers, like you are, because it's not only to white people. I swear they're
It's to
so. And let
everybody.
me tell you something though. You see how I said my mom's side of the family's Indian?
Yeah.
They didn't want my mom to be with my dad because the baby would come out too dark.
Oh,
Okay?
oh, dude, Indians have like, oh my god, they like hate dark skins, bro. I have a
Yeah,
friend
and
that's
even
Indian. He's like, yeah, no, like they hate each other over there. Like, fuck.
yeah, and even though like even when I was in the womb, cooking in the womb, my mom broke up with my dad while I was in vitro because they kept trying to like pressure her to like. Well, first of
Mm.
all, they were like saying my dad was good for nothing, like poor, and like really talking down to the status.
Um.
Which, funny enough, now like my dad's been hardworking, like always provided for me. I have a car, okay, because of my dad. Like he pays for my car and my insurance. Like, been my number one rock going
Mm-hmm.
through. But just like, yeah, in the boom, they kept talking about how dark this baby was gonna be and how the dad
Mm-hmm.
was a good for nothing. And I'm like, it's just, yeah, a lot of that has been brought here. Okay, they brought it to this country too. They did not keep it back home. Which,
You
talking
crossed the
about,
fucking ocean to still do this shit.
yeah, but like talking about that, have you ever been threatened to get sent back? I know, like for me, because I
Oh,
actually immigrated with them, I got that
I
threat.
was
They
born
would send
here,
my ass back home.
so no, I was born
I've but
here.
I've had friends who were born here, like other like minorities, like immigrants. They were born here, and their parents still threatened to send them back home. They'd be like, "I'll send you
Oh,
packing, and you'll come back here. It's like you'll be straightened out and whatnot." So like,
well, I've had okay. They haven't said like anything like exactly like that to me, but they do say like you don't understand what it's like back home. Like like the things
oh
that I had to deal with. Like you're so lucky, you're so spoiled that you're lucky that you were born here. You didn't have to deal with the things that I dealt with at home. If you were to live there, you would never be able
oh
to
yeah,
survive. Like you wouldn't know what to do. Like you can't survive. Blah 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 blah. Like you're so spoiled. So they don't like tell me like they'll send me back to get me straight. But they just literally say like, hey yo, like you literally if you get sent back, if I were to do that, you're just gonna fucking die because like you just don't
yeah,
know how to like live your life. And I was like, actually,
yeah. They
I'm not
definitely
that stupid.
definitely called me spoiled a lot, and like feel
Mm.
like, oh, like you've had it easy compared, and like I can get it. Like first of
Yeah,
all, like
yeah.
if I
Oh,
ever
yeah.
had kids, like
100%.
I want my kids to have an easier life than I have. But it's just also like I was
Yeah,
born
that's
in my
every
country.
generation.
I've experienced the shit too. Like it might not have been for as long as they have because they've been alive longer, duh. And it's not might have
Mm-hmm.
been
Exactly.
like so much, but I still remember it. And I'm just like, who are you talking to? Like I've experienced my own fair share of trauma before I was even in the double digits of age, That's not the right
Facts.
phrasing, but it's just like,
Big facts.
but like, and now this is like one thing like I want to talk about is like how those like viewpoints that they hold of us as children like has impacted one mental health. That's a big picture thing with immigrant
Yeah.
families, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then also just education wise. And
Mm-hmm.
I know it's like for me, like with education,
Mm-hmm.
obviously like my family wanted to be like educated and like well like
Yeah.
be more successful. So here's the thing: when I immigrated here, not with my dad and mom, because I told you they broke up like when I was cooking in the womb.
Oh.
So
Oh.
I immigrated with my mom and my stepdad, and so there is also this like this third family influence like in my life. I have to talk about how like that. They're also
Mm.
Guyanese as well, okay?
Mhm,
But it's just
mhm,
like this trifecta basically of bullshit is what I call it. It's just
mhm.
they like have all that influence and like like obviously the big thing has just been like success and success is measured in money, especially over
Oh,
here.
oh, oh
And I'm
my
not
God.
saying like
You gotta
money's
be
not the key to
rich.
happiness,
Like, yeah.
like, but for me, I've never wanted to be like so like overwhelmingly like wealthy. Like I want to be content in life and I want to be able to
Oh,
meet
yeah.
all my basic needs and then
Of course.
spend a little more. Like if I want to collect stupid things like squishmallows, like I want to be able to do that without worrying.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
with like the education, but like for me, I know like especially like Asian, like my school itself has a lot of Asian um immigrant not immigrants, international students, okay? A lot of them, the biggest is like from Hong Kong and China and then
Mm-hmm.
surrounding areas. And that's parental expectations of doing well, getting good grades, because you have to land a high paying
Specifically
job
going to an
afterwards.
international school, especially for them there. Like
Oh yeah.
my ex boyfriend, he was from Hong Kong. Went to a because his family's rich. Went to a very prestigious high school in Hong Kong that is specialized in international like after high school like transfers. And so that's
Yeah.
why he transferred to a school in California. And like all of his other friends went to like his friends went to
Oh,
Australia, France, Canada, like all
yeah, I've
around
met a
Europe
lot of
and shit like
students
that.
that have done that where they come from
Mm-hmm.
like these prestigious high schools and they'll do a
Mm-hmm.
transfer to like kind of like an intermediate here in Canada and then they're able to get into, these
Oh no,
more prestigious schools. I
it's
mean,
a full high school over there for my ex boyfriend. Full high school, and like as soon as you graduate, you go to
oh
an
yeah, no.
international school.
Yeah, I've met a couple people who've done like half and half or like full, and like
Mm.
I mean, there's other things like I've encountered. Like one thing, like when I started out university, like every student was like referring to their IB scores. I still don't know what that is. Okay, I've
Oh
been
yeah,
here 6 years.
same.
I still don't know what IB is, and all of them
I've
always
seen
talked
that.
about it and how they had to do it, and I was just like, I was just aiming for mid 80s basically to get
We
into this
did.
school.
I did the SATs. What the fuck is an IB? No, yeah,
Yeah, I
I've
know.
seen that on like study grams and study blurs of like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
studying for my IB. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, fuck is that? And
yeah,
I
I
just
was just like,
assumed that it's like an Asian European thing. It's like their
yeah.
SATs and APs, and I'm like,
It's
cool.
definitely heavily in like Asians, but I think it's just for international students wanting to compete here to make sure their like level of education is at the same standard as us
Oh,
over
I'm
here.
gonna Google
And
it.
North America is like minus Mexico. I do have to say minus Mexico, unfortunately. I love Mexican culture, but like
Mm.
Canada and the US, like they're very neck and neck with certain things. So I do, yeah, I still don't know what IB is, but I know that's like a big thing. And I know for me, however, it's just like I kind of put that like expectation for education on myself because I've always been academically driven. I love school. I love learning. Like you can't take that away from me. I think it's like my only redeeming quality is my
Mm.
strive for like academia, and I've always loved
Mm.
that. But like coming out the gate being so strong academically, like I think that just set me up
Mm.
for failure because like
Okay,
I
yeah.
have friends who like also like performed at the same level as me, but it was because their parents like were actually like supportive and getting them proper like tutoring and like steps and like was just like it's okay if you falter by the wayside and whatnot. But mine was like coming from this different area where I set the bar so high for me, like little,
Damn.
you know, I was like
Okay.
2.5 learning to count to 100. So it was like little
Bitch, the
eyes.
fuck.
Yeah, my
Bitch,
dad,
what the
what he
fuck?
used to do was like where the like back in Guyana where the bus dropped us off, like it would be like a 2 to 3 kilometer. I don't. I feel like yeah, it was like almost three
Bitch.
kilometers walk home.
Bitch, don't be talking this Canada outside of America. Talk to me. What the fuck is three
It's like two.
kilometers?
It's like 1.72 miles ish. So it's like
Oh, okay.
not.
Not too bad. Not too
It's
bad.
not too bad, but like little. I'm a little
But you're
young
a little
lady,
kid.
6'3", and like I like get
Yeah.
exhausted, and like he
Yeah,
would be
okay.
like, okay, if you can count to 100, I'll give you a
I,
piggyback the whole way. And so that was like my
oh,
motivation
that's
for
cute
you know
though. That's cute though.
So and I always liked learning, so it wasn't like anything too bad for me, but like I just had
Uh-huh.
these steps. Like I went into school being a bit more advanced than the other kids, and I was more
Mm.
self-disciplined with like studying. But then also as I got older, like I realized, oh, I don't need to study as hard to get good grades. Like I will BS the hell out of this. And so like I lost that like discipline basically
Oh,
to
facts.
keep
Facts,
myself,
bitch. I started
you know,
fucking cheating in like 5th grade. I
I
started cheating in 5th grade. I don't give a fuck anymore.
I
Which is super early
technically
on, but it's like
didn't start cheating basically, but what happened was that like I like that's what I'm saying is like I was like out of the gate, and like family started expecting certain things from me. Like I had to get all A's in school.
mm,
My reports, like I
mm,
don't know if you guys got the like behavioral kind of like where it would say like your initiative, your organization skills, like whatever. They'll talk about like those
mm.
skills. We had that. I was expected to get all E's for excellent. Like if I got a G for good or an S for satisfactory, oh my god, my fucking
Oh,
life
okay,
was
okay, okay.
over.
So in elementary school we did have like those like different letter grades, but it was
Yeah.
more for like the actual academics. Um, but a little bit of it was like very behavioral. But then always, every time at the bottom, because the product reports for those are so fucking big.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't I don't know if yours was like that too, but like they're like a fucking 11 by 16 piece of paper for no reason. And it's like so big. And then at the bottom where it says notes, it always says Tiana was a really good student, but she was very talkative and really disrupted the class all the time. Always.
Yeah.
Literally
Mine,
always.
yeah, my issue was not taking enough initiative, and I still stuck with that. Okay, like that's my one thing.
Damn.
I don't want to be a leader. Okay, I'm fine with being a follower. Like people are always like harping on me for not wanting to be a leader, and I'm like, fuck all that noise. No, thank you. But just
Okay.
like for me, yeah, that was like one thing. I'm like, if I didn't get like, there was just this expectation for me to do these things on my own. Like my family, like,
Mm.
you will do well with us any pressure. And like I was doing fine until I got to high school, and my mental health like just dove off the fucking CN Tower and crashed
Mm.
into the fucking Nature Boulevard. But it's just
Uh-huh.
like it was such a high, like it was from so high to so low. And that was like in
Mm.
high school where I started like struggling more. So I got put on this thing called an IEP, but there was so much. Okay, I got hospitalized. Okay, I got put in the psych ward. Like so, like I said, CAS got
You
involved.
went to
Like there,
Grippy Sock Jail?
yeah,
I've
something.
never
I'm like,
been to Grippy Sock Jail before.
oh,
I have a
it was
different
fun,
friend
honestly.
that has
We
been
watched the
to Grippy
trains.
Sock Jail.
I have been on one and a half. There was one where it was kept overnight, so I don't count it as a full because it wasn't
Oh,
72
okay. I was
hours.
like, fuck you mean half? Like,
I don't
only
count it as a
only your Grippy Socks went? Like, fuck you mean?
And honestly, they were the ones. They were very like being like, "Oh, how do you feel?" Like, we'll just keep you for this long. Like, they were just a lot more
Mm.
lax with it. But they were good, like getting me in a program right away with that. But anyways, like I said, it was like nosedive, and like I still managed to like keep up this illusion for the most part of like getting good grades. But I was definitely a bit more
Pretending
like
you're
secretive.
okay.
What's something I did? Like I said, be more secretive, like only show them the good parts.
Mm.
Like I became more like I would
Oh.
communicate with them. I wouldn't show them the physical reports. I'd be like, we don't get paper copies anymore, and they don't bother contacting parents if the student is doing well. So you're not gonna hear anything like,
That's true. Like, you could be getting like C's, like, like half
yeah.
C's, half B's, and like they're not gonna contact. But like if you're going any lower than that, like yeah, they're gonna contact. So it's like you're like barely passing, so I know it's
Well,
gonna
here's the thing.
die now.
I don't know, like with like grading system, America is different than Canada. So for us, from
Cause we're
80 to 100,
better.
that's where the A's
Caw!
are. So yeah, ours like what would be like a B and C A, B, C, D for
Oh,
us is
oh my fucking
different.
god! I completely forgot. Okay, y'all bitches
Yeah.
have school so much easier because like an 80%. No, sorry, is it worse? I don't remember.
Yeah.
An 80%
80% is an
here.
A minus. Yeah. It's a
Fuck you. Yeah, you guys have the fucking
and
better
that's a
grade
B
system.
minus
Oh,
there.
you motherfucker. You
Hey,
motherfucker. I think we talked about this
we're
before. I was like,
look,
you bitch.
we have a pretty good education system. It's just the grading is
Yeah,
different. Like, you want to see who have it easy? Go to the UK, okay? They're, like those motherfuckers get 40 and it's still passing, So
that's an F. That's an F, bro. What do
that's an
you
F
mean?
here too, but I'm pretty sure it's like a D or something like that over there. Yeah,
Okay,
pretty
so
good.
it's
But
still
like for me, yeah,
failing.
I started. lying basically. Okay, I became a
Yeah.
hermit. But it's just like
Oh,
for that like
that's why you
education, like
said at the beginning of the podcast you think criminals are good.
I don't think they're good. I'm just intrigued by them. Maybe, but like it's like the other thing, it's like usually people who get into like psychology are the ones who are like mentally ill themselves. So,
I wanted to go into psychology, and then I realized that
oh, what did you
that
do? I don't think I've ever asked this.
so in college, what I graduated with was a bachelor's of science in advertising with a focus in management and a double minor in
Oh,
anthropology and communication studies.
honestly,
But
I wish I did communications in mine, but it is what it is.
I mean, you can always minor. I decided to minor in my last year, so I literally
It's
course stacked
too.
and almost
Oh no,
died.
you can't do that at my university. So I'll
Oh,
explain a little bit more about my university system. Number one school ranking, and I'm just gonna stop bragging. I like to just throw that in people's
you
face,
know
like,
what?
huh?
Fuck you. We just explained about how your grade system is like better because it's more fucking. So I
No,
don't know.
but like,
I
anyways,
don't
yeah.
know.
I just
Uh
like
huh.
talking, yeah, but like, I still like that's what I'm saying. Like from high school, I did like I fell off. Okay, I fell off hard, but I still managed to like keep
You
up,
mean hype no
and I
more?
still managed. Like I said, I
Mm-hmm.
got into like I got waitlisted from like a low ranked university. I was like, what the fuck is this? But the best school accepted me, so gang, it was the only school I wanted to go to,
Gang,
anyways.
gang, gang,
And
gang.
so yeah, and then like yeah, coming into university, I just felt like so unprepared for life because I felt like I was just battling all this generational that's when I realized
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
battling generational trauma. Like I've been
Facts. Like, yeah, it's
battling
like,
parental expectations. I've been like
mm,
hindered by
mm,
them, like and I'm just not cut out the way they expect me to be cut out. And like back in Guyana, like they really don't believe in mental health. Like
oh
anybody,
no,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
no matter what your symptom is, you're crazy. Okay, it's anxiety,
Yeah,
whatever your
yeah,
symptom is, you're
yeah.
fully
You're
psychotic. It don't
crazy.
matter.
You need to
And
go
they
to
just
an asylum and you need to stay away from crazy people because they're crazy and they'll
yeah,
make you crazy.
yeah, that's like the whole thing. And it's just like
How the
and
fuck
it's
does
like
that make sense? Fucking,
you
I
get
didn't realize
outcasted
craziness is
until
contagious.
and I feel like I also got like outcasted from my family when I started
Um,
developing my mental health symptoms because they didn't
oh,
understand it, and they quite frankly didn't want to understand it. They kept, they kept throwing all the basic stuff. You're crazy, like it's this, it's that, blaming everything but the actual problem them.
it's because you
It's
on
just
that damn phone.
yeah, it was just yeah. They blamed phones, friends, like
Gaming, friends, yeah.
it was
Like,
everything, but like we even like the social service, like they noticed like when I was talking to them, like a big
mm,
stressor in my life was my family, and then they just like when they suggested family therapy, they were like, hell nah, we don't need some outsider knowing our business. Like, and that's like another thing is like
oh yeah,
being very secretive, not
saving
wanting other
face.
people to. Yeah, they're so big about saving face. And yeah, when I got to like university, it's when I realized all these little things. I'm like, I've been like trying to keep up appearance for the family. I've been like suppressing my mental health. I've been so my first year of
Yeah.
university was BS. Right now, my GPA is like ugh because of that. Like I've been doing better since, but my first year, I don't even
Mm.
want. Oh my god! Like I got mollywopped. Okay, and so like my university, there's just like I'm not even kidding. Like I came out that first year and I'm like, I think that I need to start like prostitution or something because it was
Oh,
so bad. I like literally just
oh, what the fuck?
no, it was so like I'm telling you, my mental health nosedived because like let me explain, like it was off the fucking rails.
Yeah.
I was constantly like in the like nurse's office basically at the campus
Oh.
like it was so bad. Like I think my GPA at the end of the year was like 1.5. Like it was
Oh.
horrible, and I held this shame, and like I felt so bad, and like it was just so bad, and like everything that like I kept on like doing all this work and everything just like led back to my family and like
Yeah,
everything else
yeah. Oh,
just like
totally.
eventually connected to back home and what was expected from back home, like I said, it's success and like doing well and like and that's like where I talk about like with my stepdad's family because like they're not like very traditional, let's say, except like I've been the first one like out from the family basically here to go to uni. Like we've
Oh,
had
first generation like graduate? You gonna be a first generation graduate?
yeah, so like I'm the first one at uni. They're like college and uni are different here in
Oh,
Canada.
true. No,
So
yeah,
we
same.
did
Yeah.
we did have a my stepdad's youngest brother. He's got six siblings, but his youngest brother, he did go to college, but he just got a certificate. Like it
Associates.
was just
Oh,
no, it was just a certificate because it's like yeah, if you go to college, you got like
yeah,
there's
you
like
got
if you do one
certificates, you
year,
got
2 year,
associate. Yeah.
3 year, four.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
like
yeah.
what's different. So like for me, I'm getting an honors bachelor's, so that's like I'm the first one with a bachelor's degree coming out of the family
So,
essentially.
okay.
And now we've got the younger, my stepdad's his youngest sister, and then his niece and nephew. Like they are also now on this like college. They're all doing college, I believe, or uni path. But like
Mm-hmm.
I'm like the first one to take that big leap, and like
Yeah.
I always knew I was going to too because I love
Okay.
academia. But it's just
Yeah.
like I was, what do you call it? My brain is scattered right now. um, but yeah, just like I felt like all this like weight on my shoulder and like felt like wrong for like, oh, am I picking a good career path? Because everyone expected
Oh.
me to do doctor, a lawyer, and like all the big, you
Mm,
know,
yeah.
money, cha-ching, ka-ching, like
Exactly.
path. And like I just because I went in to do um biomedical sciences. That's what I went into university
Oh.
for. And it's not that like I hated chemistry and I hated calculus, so I was like, I'm not doing this
You know
anymore.
what?
And
I
I
can't do this.
I switched to psychology because it was still like it's still in the sciences at my university. They teach it as a science, and it's a like very neuroscience based, and like there's a lot of biological psychology involved. So it's like very still like you get an honors bachelor's of science here.
Yep.
But I wanted to ask you about that. Like, is yours I know for us, like,
Mine's a
automatically
BS.
after 4 years is honors bachelor, so or is yours is just BS?
Bachelor's of
It's just
Science.
bullshit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
just
know,
a
you got
Bachelor's of
the
Science.
so
That's
it's
it.
not honors after 4 years? You don't get that?
You spend 4 years to get a bachelor's.
Yeah, I know, but here, it's like the distinction here in Canada is
Mm-hmm.
if you do 3 years, you get a bachelor's of science. If you do
Nope.
4 years, it's an honors bachelor. Oh, wow.
It's 4 years and you get a bachelor's.
Oh, wow, okay.
There's,
But yeah, so Canada, once again, is just like,
you know what?
"Here,
Suck
make you
my
feel better."
dick.
But yeah,
Suck my
so
dick.
I I just like felt so wrong in what I was doing and so wrong for like not meeting expectations. And I felt, and like I said, I was dealing with like mental health issues. So I didn't have like any like proper job until this past year. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah. 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 Same. Like my parents. Okay. Like okay. One thing I liked about my parents is the fact that they like told me to my face, like, you do not need to work. You just need to focus on your studies. Just do that. I was like, cool, great, awesome. I'll do that. So that's all I did. All I did was just like focus on my studies, and I didn't work throughout high school. But then I got a job in college because I wanted to get a job because I wanted to
yeah,
have my own pocket money to like spend on myself, to spend on my friends, to do these things instead of wait until Christmas and my birthday to get money. Because I didn't get an
yeah.
allowance growing up. I didn't get paid to do
Oh,
chores because
yeah.
I didn't. So like it
Meanwhile,
was
my
just
siblings are, my
yeah,
Canadian siblings are, and I'm not.
yeah, no, like my like technically like my brother, he had a job but then he got laid off unfortunately. But then before he had
Yeah,
that, he saved up all of his like celebration money for birthday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever, Chinese New Year's, all the time, like everything. He would save up his money, he would use that. But my mom gave him this credit card for him to just freely use and to use like at least like $100 a month. So like to keep the card active and also
yeah.
like to get like rewards from the card. So then technically she just like doesn't ask for him to pay her back or anything. But if I do, I gotta pay her back. So it's like my brother used to make more money than me. Like his job that he worked at was like partially governmental, so he made more
Oh,
money than me. He made like $27 an hour. When
oh,
I was
government jobs are so lucrative.
yeah, and so he was like 27, working full time. Actually, no, he wasn't even working full time. He was working part time because he was still a college student. And
Yeah.
I was working part-time for minimum wage, which at the time was 15. So he was making a whole $10, $12 more than I was. But then because I'm the oldest and all this and all that, he gets to keep all his money and I have to use my fucking money for other fucking shit for the family.
Yeah.
Cause like whatever I make, like what's mine is theirs. What's theirs is his, and what's his is his. And it's like it's always been like that.
Yeah.
It so like yeah, like I feel your pain of having to like I still have like care and love in my heart for my sibling. Like there's that thing, like even though he's like
Yeah.
changed into like a much worse person than I raised him to be, um like I'm still gonna
No.
care for him as my brother. But even though I still care for him as my brother, I still like will hate him and be jealous of him of the fact that he has
Yeah,
gotten a
it's a
better life
different
than me.
treatment.
Yes, because like you're the oldest in your family as well, right?
Yeah, I'm the oldest, and that's like
Yeah.
something like for me. So like I told you, I've always been academically driven, and my family
Mm-hmm.
has known this. And so when we first moved to Canada and we were getting me set up in the school system, they asked my family, "Would you like to start an RESP, which is just like education savings plan, basically?" And you just
Oh.
select a certain amount to put every month, but it's just so that your child has money when it comes to and they like when it comes to time to enrolling in university. And we are much cheaper here.
Oh.
Like my tuition, if I do full courses, is like just under 8K yearly. So like, you
That's
know,
around the same
we
amount of money that I paid for my school, yeah.
yeah, so like I mean, yeah, comparatively we still compared to the US though, like in most programs, like it's still I'd say overall cheaper because I haven't
Uh-huh.
been paying full 8K. I've been paying like around 6 grand because I've been doing kind of like part time. But anyways,
Yeah. Okay. Makes
with
sense.
that, like my family was asked, they declined to do it for me, you know. But
Yeah.
like when my siblings were born, they have our ESPs now. My mom does my brothers, and then my stepdad does my sisters, and they each get I don't know remember how much monthly, but they have through education, and I'm grateful that they're gonna have that because I've had to take on loans to go through like my education.
Oh.
My first semester, my dad paid for that,
Oh, okay.
thankfully, but that was about it. And I didn't feel like right putting more on my dad. So my dad's still very much active in my life. Like I said, he pays for my car. Like it's one thing I'm so privileged. But I do live out in the country. Like if I walk 20 minutes, I barely make it out my neighborhood. So like,
Yeah.
you know,
I
I'm
need a
very
car.
I'm grateful. Yeah, the closest public transit is like 40 minutes south. I'm not like
Fucking bitch. That's
so
why I
yeah,
didn't
it's
go
just
see you. The fuck you mean?
hey, when you came to Canada, I was living somewhere with public transit, so don't even start.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But like, yeah, my dad, like, there was this expectation that even my dad had to sign off his parental rights when I moved here. Like, that's just like the government
Oh,
needed him to
yeah.
agree to that. There was still an
Uh-huh, makes
expectation that
sense.
he would take care of me financially, and so that caused a lot of risk growing up. So like
Ooh.
I've only had my car for almost 4 years now, and before that,
Oh.
I was driving a car my stepdad had. It was an old Nissan Altima, which
Nissan Altima.
honestly, I don't like my driving that car and like driving any other vehicles like day and night. I don't know what it is about an Altima that just turns you into a
I've
psychopath on
I've
the
never
road.
driven a Nissan Altima, but hey, you're kind of selling it for me.
You do not need to be in an Altima
I want to
ever
be in
at
one
all.
now. The fuck?
So yeah, my like I was driving that car and my stepdad would complain about having to pay insurance. Like, it's like why didn't my dad do it? And like anytime like anything big financially come up, it was just like always like going back to my dad, which I felt very wrong. Like I felt a lot of guilt. And even right now I feel a lot of guilt having him paying my car. Like I've been trying to find a job so I can take care of that financially, without
Yeah.
him doing that. But it's just like anytime I'd have to go back to my dad, and like my dad's still living in a third world country. I mean, actually now he's just got his green card for the US, so we'll go dad.
Oh, that means
Yeah.
that if he moves to California, you know what that means, bitch.
he's been eyeing California, honestly.
It
And so is
better
my
be
uncle.
North
So
California, because you know what that means,
I have I
bitch.
made a friend, actually. I made a friend who is from North Cal. I don't remember her exact area, okay? But I think she's like from close to San Francisco area.
Same.
Anyways,
Most people in
not
North California are close to San Francisco.
yeah, so anyways, yeah, I do plan to go see her, so you'll be on the bucket list too. um, but yeah, like I said, there's just like this
You better.
expectation on dad, and he used to living back home, and I'm like, I don't want to be putting this. I'm like, and then like I'd get like,
Mm,
and I still feel angry. Like there's so much resentment. Like you guys, like he signed up his parental right. Like you guys made that like vow basically to take care of me when I emigrated here, and
yeah.
that's not what's happening. Like everything had to go back to my dad, and even right now. And so eventually, like I just got my car and I just did that all on my own. It was just me and my dad. I was like, this is what I'm gonna get. This is how much insurance will be and like monthly payments. Eventually I do want to take
Mm,
over
yeah.
paying my own stuff because I crave independence. I don't want to like right now. I still live at home with like my mom and stepdad and like
Same.
technically living here rent free basically, and I don't like
Same.
that. But
Oh,
but I
I'm
still have to take care.
fine with that, bitch. Fuck you mean. You
I know
wanna pay rent?
in this economy, but no, it's just again with that expectation, like you
Yeah.
being indebted to them, with like, and this like in this economy
True.
though, like, anyways, but
There
like I
are the
said,
pros and cons. There are definitely pros and cons for like
I've
still
had to
living at
take on
home.
student loans, and I still have to pay for every other thing. Like I cover my own phone bills, like any other expense, like all my expenses are between me and my dad. Like my dad's mainly my car insurance and payments, and then I do all my
Oh.
car services, like maintenance, any
Yeah.
other fee, like with my car that's been me, and just any other thing with myself. Like I just like pay for it. And so there's been a lot of this like kind of like resentment building up, and like at times I felt this like anger come out of my siblings because they've gotten it a bit easier, and like I feel like because they've had me for guidance now to how to survive in Canada. Like I grew up in Guyana, and like I moved here, and like it's a different cultural expectations with working
Yeah,
whatever, and then
exactly.
moving here I just the transition was rough and hard, and I just felt lazy. Like even though I knew I was struggling really hard with mental health, especially trying to go through school, like
Mm-hmm.
I just felt wrong in myself, not working, and like I had stuff like babysitting and tutoring, and there was just like little odd jobs, here and there. But I tried to build experience, but like also like entry level is a fucking lie. Okay, these bitches want unicorns out here. I'm just like,
Yes, yes, yes. They're like like you're starting entry level position, but needs to have 5 years of experience, have worked in the field before, already graduated from college with a master's. Like,
oh, oh, the
what
graduate having
do you
that.
mean?
Anyways, yeah. So like, I just like felt so. I felt like a failure. Like even though I was doing a lot of things, and like I've been seeing therapists and like career advisors, like and like everyone would be telling me, "Oh, you're doing great. Like you've got like a lot of adversity." Because there's some I
Yeah, because
haven't
like
gotten into really
you
deep.
got goals, bitch. I don't.
Yeah, see, I haven't gotten in too deep to like specific trauma, like with my
Oh
family,
yeah,
because
yeah,
there's
that's
a
fine.
lot, honey.
Yeah.
But just
Mm-hmm.
I've like communicated these things to like my other people, and you'd be like, "You're doing so good," and like I just wouldn't see that because I just saw
Of
myself
course.
from my family's point of view.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
can't see
no.
myself anyway else. It's just you know my whole
I
family's
I feel
also
I feel
entrepreneurial.
that.
Like my dad has had so many different like careers over my lifetime. Like he's been a barber, he's been in agriculture, he's been in the food business, real estate, investment, technology. Like he's just been everywhere. And like with my stepdad, he has his own business. And I mean, my mom works. She works for so she's got like a regular like 9 to 5 job. But
Mhm.
she's also got like she's been doing her makeup business on the side. So like everyone around me,
Oh.
he's just like. And if I look at just like anyone, like my stepdad's niece, his brothers, it's
Yeah.
just like everyone has got this like entrepreneurial spirit
Everyone's
in
like
them that I
building something
and I just
themselves. Yeah.
yeah, and I just went so hard against that grain. Like I was they're going all in one direction. I'm heading the other way, because
Okay.
I was just really academia, and like for me, I crave stability because I feel like I never had that in my family because it was just like this war between I don't even know how to describe it, but just like everything just felt so unstable with like constantly having these old expectations and slowly growing to realize, maybe the culture was a little fucked up, and maybe you shouldn't be putting that on on your kids
Yeah,
here. Like, I know it
exactly.
helped them
Yeah, it was
survive,
not.
and I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. That part,
I
the surviving
understand it
part.
helped them survive coming from the type of country they did, but and it's
Yes.
just like putting that onto your kids though is like a whole other level of effed up, and especially when you have family who don't want to work on themselves and like, I'm not the problem, you're the problem. I'm not the fucking problem, you know?
Yeah, no,
It was just
I definitely, yeah, like my parents, especially my mom, is still like very much kind of stuck in this mindset of like what she dealt with in Vietnam. Like, I understand because, yes, Vietnam is a third world country. Vietnam was war ridden. They literally witnessed war. They witnessed their homes being from them. They witnessed their friends going through this. My mom, like, she has gone through things like yeah, even though, like, you made it as a joke earlier, but like she actually had friends that genuinely prostituted themselves in Vietnam to get money to feed their family. Like, that was the only way for them to actually get any money, because that's just how, like, the country became. My dad was a
yeah,
refugee for a year and a half, literally had to learn from the bottom up how to survive living on a deserted island with his family, making sure that him and his family don't die, having to like kill animals for the first time in his life. Like, that's like a butcher's job, but like he and his dad had to do that because they're the men of the family, having
yeah,
to like learn how to do every little thing, like very very little thing, just to be able to like survive here, to be able to see a future, just to get that American dream that they all were dreaming about. My dad witnessed a girl his age on the boat that he took get raped countlessly, like almost every night, by the captain and like the rest of the team, to the point that she literally jumped off the fucking boat one night because she didn't want to fucking live anymore. Like, he witnessed a girl get raped and kill herself. Like,
yeah,
his boat was raided by pirates. He had guns pointed at him, multiple, just like different bad things has just gone on. So like, I understand why their mindset and their thought process and things like that can still be so stuck in the past, because the past, like, like us, right? The past can't just leave. Like, that is their generational trauma of like leaving a war-ridden country. There's the generation before that didn't experience, like, they experienced the war and like communism a little bit later on in their life, but still, it's like they have this war-ridden country kind of mindset. They're gonna like
yeah,
kind of put that onto me. I didn't live up in a war-ridden mind, like kind of life, and I have, like, lived up as a spoiled American child, but still I want my kids to, like, it's always going to be like, I don't want my kids to experience a war-ridden country. I don't want my kids to experience, like bad mental abuse. Like,
adversity, and yeah,
it's going to keep going down the line and stuff. But I understand why they're like that. And it sucks that even though my dad came here like a lot younger, he came here when he was around 14, 15. His mindset is a lot more modernized than my mom, because she came here when she was 20. And so
yeah,
she's still like very, very, because she grew up throughout her entire developmental years in Vietnam. So what she knows and what she will continue to know is gonna be from those developmental
yeah,
years. My dad,
and I
like half of it was here. So that's why he's a little bit
yeah,
better. My mom's still so stuck. And then same thing as we brought up earlier, she's always like bringing up like, you don't understand what I went through, like, I had to do this, I had to do that. Like, yeah, but you did those things because you had to. Like,
yeah,
you had to work your ass off to help your family because your mama and your papa decided to pop out 8 fucking kids. Did I tell you to do that? No. But like, it's not my fault that you got 7 fucking siblings, that your mama and daddy have to fucking feed all them, and that you as the youngest gotta help work because y'all gotta help pay because everybody has to help. Like, I'm lucky that it's just my brother and I. But like,
yeah.
like, it's not my problem that you had to go through worse situations because, like, they don't know what condoms are. Okay? Like that's not my business, bro. The fuck you mean?
I know, it's
Um
kinda like like my stepdad, I said he has 6 siblings, and they definitely didn't grow up that being that well off, and, it was, like,
mhm.
very rough for his mom because for a period of time, his mom was a single mom, and it was just her, because like, her
Oh.
first 5 kids are from the same dad, and so, like, it was just the 5 of them,
Oh.
and, like, she's got 6 is his own dad, and then 7 and 8 are the same dad, which is now her current husband. Like they've been together for a while, but yeah, I think she had her first child at like 16, 17. So like, you
I'm
know,
good.
and then I mean, I'm past that point. There's no going back to there, But like, so it's definitely like I understand how adversity builds them, and like I'm a psych student. Like I completely understand like poverty is trauma. Like there's so many things as trauma, but I
Oh yeah.
also had like some of those experiences. Like I remember so much
Oh
bouncing
yeah.
around from home to home with my mom, like sleeping in
Mm-hmm.
shady places. She had this abusive boyfriend that locked us in a house, like, and there's just also from being in an unsafe country. Like there's a lot of gang violence, people breaking into your house to rob. Like all of our doors and windows had grates. Like it was such a fire hazard. Often
Oh.
people would burn alive in their house because they couldn't find the keys that they used to lock themselves in. And yeah, it's so like I'm like I grew
Oh
up in
my
this too,
god.
so like I experienced it, and I know like
Yeah.
I was able to essentially break out of it at a younger age, and I'm grateful for that. But I don't think like it justifies treating people a certain way, and it's certainly like holding that over, especially a child, like holding
Yeah.
that over their head forever. Like it's like from so young, and that's like another thing with me is like how I do things for people is I do it because I care and I want to help, and I think it'll have some sort of benefit. I'm not doing it because I'm gonna hold this as a you owe me type of thing. Like
Yeah.
that's one thing with my mom. Like
True.
I hate asking her for favors, no matter how small, because she'll throw it back in my face. Like bam,
Yeah,
bam, 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 bam. Like
yeah. It's like, can you go grab something for me? Like I would ask her, like, can you ask, like, why? You can't just grab it yourself, huh? Like, what? You have your own two fucking legs. Like, what? Why do you want me to do it? I'm old. I'm just like, I was just asking you to just fucking grab something from you. Fucking get shit from.
yeah,
Like, why the
so
fuck are you acting like this, please?
I know. So it's just like
But then she
I
asks you to take in like 10 fucking heavy ass bags of groceries from the fucking car. Like
that's like today my mom was asking me to drive round and round to go find her something, and if I ask her to pick up one thing right at her like workplace because she works like her job is in a mall, like
uh-huh.
I'm so tired. Like I've done all this. I've done this for you. Blah,
Why
blah,
the
blah.
fuck
Like
are
it's
you
just
wasting
like
your fucking money on this shit? Like, I don't want to buy this for you. Like, do you know how tired I am after work? It's like, I'm sorry. Damn.
I know, and like that's one thing for me, like trying to build like because I
Like,
also
rebuild a
definitely like
relationship.
I don't think I want to rebuild a relationship with
Mm,
like I don't know, like I feel like maybe from afar I just
yeah.
have a lot still to work through, and they're still very much digging their heels in and don't want to change their way, and I feel like I can't do all the work.
Yeah.
They also have to make that active choice, and I'm not.
Yeah.
That's something I've just been holding that type of like mentality with a lot of people. Like if
Mm-hmm.
like for a while, like I would like if people like dug their heels in, I would continue trying to like placate. Is that the word? Is that the pronunciation? But anyways, I was trying to like fawn and like still try to make things work. But like now I'm just like, if you're not putting in effort, like I'm sorry. I'm so freaking sorry. Like
Yeah.
I'm a
Sorry?
head out.
Sorry? Miss
Sorry.
Canadian? Did you say sorry?
Yes, and I say a boot.
Sorry about.
Honestly, I don't hear it. The Canadian accent, I don't. Like
You said
it sounds
sorry
so
like
annoying.
non-Canadian, and then you said sorry Canadian. Like it's like, wait, what?
It's what happens, okay? Like sometimes like my accent like really gets that like Ontario twang in it.
A
And sometimes
twang.
it goes back more to like my Caribbean roots.
Uh-huh.
But often people
Oh.
like describe my accent as like being pretty neutral, kind of.
Yeah.
And I think that's just
I don't
because
hear a specific accent
so
coming at
many
you.
so many cultural influences in my life, and I just identity issues basically.
Yeah. I feel like,
Just
well, definitely with you being a mixing pot of like so many things, and like you being a bit of Indian, a bit of Chinese, like that's like different Asians, and like having to deal with like also just like being born in a non-Asian country and then having to deal with
yeah.
those things, and it's like, fuck.
Yeah, like being born one place and then moving another, and so I just my max have like disappeared on me. I don't mind it anyways, but yeah, I just with me, it's just I feel like I still have so much to rebuild because I felt like because of the mindset like my family had, like they expected me to pick up those same like spirits and like motivations that they had, for doing stuff in life, and so
Hmm.
I came out. adulthood a mess, like getting myself into debt and
Yeah.
just
That's
making like
adulthood,
poor
baby.
poor decisions, which I'm like I've been pretty like good with like at least trying to stop things early and not letting it like run on
Mm,
too
that's
long because
good.
I can see how it like might affect my future. Like I said, I want independence. I don't want to
Mm,
be
that's
dependent on anyone. And like,
yeah.
if I want to like work on the relationship with anyone, I want to be detached from them. I don't want to be any like intermingling and whatnot. And
Mm.
so there's just been, I don't like, it's just so much. Like, and I don't think like, especially like immigrant parents don't realize like the trauma they put on their kids. They think, oh, it's like you're spoiled, okay? Like, have you ever gotten the like, what do you have to be sad for? Like, what do you have to be depressed for? Like, you have a roof over your head, food, clothes on your
Yeah.
back, food on. Like,
Yeah, my mom's like, why the fuck do you and your dad and your brother and all this everybody fucking why do people want to kill themselves? Just be happy. Like I don't understand.
oh
Like,
yeah,
like all
I had
this and
that.
all that.
When I like
Yeah,
was having
it's
suicidal ideation, my stepdad was. Oh, and there's one thing where I tell it, like I say, I don't want to rework. Like, I mean, there's like I said, I haven't gone deeply into the trauma, but one
mhm.
thing, like one night I was having like really bad suicidal ideation. That's actually when I got sent to Grippy Sock vacation, and he was just yelling across the house that I
Oh,
could go ahead and kill myself if I wanted to, and like that.
that's a little different. That's that
Yeah,
one's a little
so like
different.
when people are like, "Oh, you don't want to work on the relationship," and I'm like, "Hold on, that just left a nasty taste in my mouth." Like
Oh yeah.
it's something I can't
Like even if they
just
like
get
didn't
past
mean
it.
it, like still like you said that to a child, you're supposed to be a role model, you're supposed to be a caretaker, you're supposed to be a protector. That
Yeah.
is not something that you should be saying. Yeah, I
Like I
get
can
that.
still hear it and it's still like it makes me like clam up because like I just remember hearing him going, I'm not
Yeah,
leaving any
no.
more sleep over her. She can go ahead and kill herself if she wants.
Yeah, yeah. It's the
That was
feeling
just
of yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm like and at that moment I'm like, I've always had this like I don't know what the relationship with my stepdad is. And like I said, there's just so much in between that's happened. Like my mom really tried to force my dad out of my mom was like manipulative so much like with my dad, like trying to poison me against him and try to force him out of my life. But then eventually flipped the
Oh.
script and was just like, oh, he has to be the one to financially do this, and this for you. But anyways, yeah, like
Actually, I don't want to spend any of my fucking money on you. Go to your fucking deadbeat
yeah,
dad. Oh, if they're so deadbeat, then why the fuck does he sending me money then,
yeah,
huh?
that's like that was like exactly the thing. And like I said, there's just like so much in there. And like I remember when like she was dating my stepdad for like a month. It's just like this is your new dad now. Like I knew my stepdad since I was like 3, 4. But I remember it, like so
Mm.
specifically we're at the bus stop and she's like, this is your new dad. Like your dad like doesn't care about you and like she tried to like poison me against him. And so I just
Yeah.
didn't, like there's just so much, like I said, and that's why people are like, oh, like, oh, you don't want to like work on the relationship, and I'm like, they have a lot of stories to dish. So, I just heard the way I said sorry.
Sorries. They have specifically a lot of Canadian sorries, okay? Because we're in Canada
Yeah,
now.
we're
They can't
Canadian
be
now, so
normal sorries. They have to be Canadian sorry.
yeah, like we're Canadians now. Like they need to dish these stories out before like I might even
Mm-hmm.
think. I'm like, at this
Mm-hmm.
point, I just like the only reason like I've really rooted myself for staying at home because I'm like at this point I'm like I don't know like I'll live out of my car like I just don't need to deal with this. This is my siblings,
Yeah.
It's just shielding them still from some of those toxic ways because like, they've become laxer, of course, and they've
Yeah.
definitely like eased up and like changed certain things, but like there's still certain other aspects of like how they parent that I'm like this is not healthy, this is not conducive, and I've even seen how the behaviors play out in my siblings, like like poor emotional regulation. Like I feel like there's a lot of things like a lot of immigrant children struggle with is not knowing how to regulate their emotions. Like they're either volatile or they just suppress everything. Like you won't see anything affecting, especially the eldest child. Like
Yeah.
the eldest child gets a like it's like you put your hand into a bag and you can either pull out emotional volatility or suppressing emotions or sometimes flip-flopping between the two. You need like around your parents you know how to keep that on the down low, but around other people you're like I don't know how to behave with you.
Yeah, kind of. For me, I've kind of like tethered that line. I act the same around my parents and my friends because I no longer have respect for my mother. No, and she no longer has respect for me. So,
Yeah, mine has definitely changed as well. Like but like for me, I know I've definitely always been someone who's very like I'm just very like careful with what parts of me I show to different people, like what I say to different people. Like
that's
there's
that's
certain things.
that's smart. See, I didn't say I was smart. I just said I'm fucking I'm not getting
Mood.
laid down.
Yeah, I know. Like, but like I've learned it the hard way. Like I've just certain things like I'm free to like say and like tell people, and I'm like, I don't care if you throw that back in my face because like if you use certain things I've said to me, like said to you, throw it back in my face, like you're actually like it tells you me more about you than like
It's
about me.
true.
But
True.
other
If
things,
I
I'm
told
just like,
you that my buttholes stink, and then I start hearing everybody saying that my buttholes stink, I know who the fuck ratted me out.
yeah, it's kind of which that reminds me kind of like that girl who would like watermark her nudes, so if it
Oh
leaks, she knew
yeah.
who leaked it. So it's just like smart, smart, smart. But yeah, it's just kind of like I've just been having to be very controlled, and I've definitely been more reserved with like my family. I don't want them in my business. Like I don't need them knowing
That's
what
true.
I'm doing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I do not tell them about a good amount of things for the reason of
yeah,
when I do tell
yeah,
them,
and
they use that
because
shit against me. So it's like, why the
oh
fuck
yeah, it's
are
a
you asking
weaponizing thing.
me? Yeah, why the fuck are you asking me to communicate with you when that communication that I'm entrusting you with because I want us to have a better relationship as a daughter and parent, that you're like ending up using that against me.
Oh
And
yeah, that's
and
something.
or even so, like I communicate with you and you pay no mind to my communication,
Oh
or
yeah.
even I communicate with you and you forget, and then years down the line, at least this happened to me, years down the line I communicate that same thing to them about like a situation that I dealt with, whatever. They're like, why didn't you tell me back then? It's like, I did,
Oh my god.
but like you
Yes.
literally disregarded it, you forgot about it, you didn't care. Why do you care all of a sudden? It's because like, like you feel guilty for not doing anything for me back then. um
Yeah. It's definitely like
so
that's a big
yeah.
thing with communication. Like one, it's like you tell them you did this something and they're like, I don't remember like doing that to you or
Oh,
saying that or
oh,
treating you
oh,
this way.
oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
with
I
my
fucking hate
mom,
that
it's
shit,
like
bro.
I tell her I don't like her doing something and she'll still go ahead and do it. And it's just like, oh, are you even listening to me? Or one thing
Mm,
like I did say I don't like it when I tell you stuff and you go tell everyone and like she just didn't care. She like this is I remember when I was in the hospital, she made it all about herself and how it was stressed and how she was losing weight, like didn't pay
damn,
attention to anything I had to say. And like
damn.
yeah, it was just all about how it made her feel. And then just like I said, oh, I don't like it when I tell you stuff or like stuff happens and you go telling everybody, like all your friends, all your family. Like I'm like I said, I'm very controlled about
I
if I
can't
tell
believe I'm
someone
dying in
something,
the
you know?
hospital. Yeah.
Yeah. So like they're so
I'm so
yeah, it's just
stressed out that my beautiful, lovely daughter's in the hospital right now. Like, it's not something I can deal with. Oh
it's
my
the sympathy card.
god.
Okay. And the psych majors,
I did not need to. I've not experienced that because I've never been in the hospital other than
no,
being
but like
birthed.
from yeah, for me, it's just about Americans avoiding hospital at all costs.
No, I have never broken a bone. I've never like literally had an
I've
actual
never
like
broken a
urgent
bone.
reason to go. Okay, I've
Lucky,
never
lucky
done
you.
anything that has made me need to go to the hospital.
Lucky you, 'cause I was in and out of the hospital all the time as a youngling. I mean, even currently, I still end up in the hospital too much. Thankfully, it's been free even back home in my third world country. We could afford free healthcare there. Anyways, when I was 3, I did end up in the hospital for like 2 months for drinking bleach. Don't wild fact. So like that's been like I'm like honestly the hospital is just my place. It's where I dive.
So you can just
It's
kind of
where
walk around saying, "I know what bleach tastes like, and I live."
that's honestly it. Like I've always been in and out of the hospital, and but thankfully, it doesn't carry a fee. Like I think I would have crippled my family if we were living in the US.
Oh,
Like
oh yeah. Oh yeah,
in
bitch.
and
I
out,
would
even with
not want you as
insurance.
my daughter either then fuck. Like you're gonna get me fucking broke and I'm poor. I can't do that shit. I love you, but
Yeah, so
like actually pull the
I
plug.
would have been put
Pull
on the side of the
it.
road so quickly.
Pull the plug. Pull it. Fuck.
It's been like, do not resuscitate, ma'am. She's not even flatlining.
Oh shit. Oh, she's asleep. Fuck.
Right? Oh, I guess our pain. Like, do our pains? That's the thing
Damn.
I was worried about. It's just
Anyways,
like
don't look,
always like,
nurse.
oh, it's just like, oh, I would like to spend some time with her. Nurse leaves the room, pillow over the face. Go to sleep.
Oh no, my daughter. I don't know what happened while you were gone. She just.
Okay, because it's like my religion says she must be cremated immediately, no autopsy, type of thing. So they can't figure out I died by asphyxiation.
Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, like I said, I've always felt like the black sheep of the family, the
I feel
problematic
that,
little
yeah.
child. I've
I
always had
feel
some
that, yeah.
issue going wrong with me. I'm not right. I've also, because like, I don't know if you probably come from a culture too where like everyone's auntie and uncle, and if you don't refer to them
Yeah.
as that, like you get smacked upside the head for it. And I
Yeah.
was always the one being like, this person is not my aunt. I know what an aunt is, and they're not my aunt. I'm not
Oh
calling them
no,
auntie. I'm calling you by your name, Jude. And
no,
so,
no, no, no. I call I at least do that. I call them auntie, I call them uncle. Um or because it's very rooted in Asian culture to always have like specific honorifics for certain
yeah.
people depending on their relation to you, depending on their relation to your parents. So then I definitely use honorifics for those that are around me and my
Yeah.
family.
And it's very rooted in my like culture too. And like so everyone was either like auntie, uncle, like you had different like titles, but it was always like something like showing your like appreciation or
Respect
like
and
your
stuff, yeah.
respect for them. But I wasn't that child. And like here's the thing, I was always a quiet child, like I was kept to myself. And that was the one thing I'd always just like pop off on people for. And then go back to the parents and be like, your daughter's so rude, she has no manners. Like she that was something I always got in trouble for because I was just
Hmm.
never on that whole train about giving people like I'm like, you're not my auntie. Because also, like, a lot of these adults were so damn disrespectful, and then they expected you to be so
Oh,
nice to
that's
them,
true. Yeah,
and I
because
was
they
not
expect
having
because of
it.
seniority and all that. Yeah, I get that. Like
Like,
I
and like I
didn't have
said,
to deal with that too much, but
I told you about them, uh, being so dehumanizing about like my skin color and my eyes. Like
yeah.
they would call me names, and then you need me to call you auntie? No, thank you. Like it's
Yeah,
not
okay,
happening.
that's
Like
true.
for me,
At
like even so
least
young, so.
for me I didn't really like experience my family saying much about me. So
Yeah.
thankfully. But I I have a good relationship with a few of my actual uncles. But a lot of like other people is all like rooted on like my parents' relationship with them. It's like, oh, I'm just like they're not actually my friend. It's like, huh? Fuck
I
you
mean,
mean? What?
see, talking about that, that's like another thing. Is like relationship with like extended family now. Like my mom definitely tainted shit because like she was telling everybody all my business when I was dealing with my mental health and like whatever. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, black sheep of the family because oh, we're not supposed to have mentally ill people in this family. But that was like another thing is like in Guyanese. I don't know what it is with like Guyanese people. They put all the expectations on like the other person, even if they're a child, to uphold communication and like uphold a relationship. So I moved here when I was a child, okay? I ain't got no phone, I got no way to contact people. The only way was through my parents and like all my family from back home who were like full adults, like including my grandma, my aunts, like who I grew up with. They would never like contact me. And then like anytime I talk to them, they'd be like, oh, what happened? You forgot everybody, you don't call anybody, you don't pick up
Damn.
the phone. And I'm like, why is this on me only? Like you are the adult in this relationship. I'm a child. And like they will do it to you no matter how young. Because like
Mm-hmm.
I remember using like experienced that as 4 year old. They're like, oh, you don't remember anybody. You don't. I'm like, no, I don't remember you. I have the memory of a 4 year old. I don't remember
Yeah.
what I ate for breakfast, okay? And so
I don't have core memories yet. Like,
yeah, I'm not forming these long-term memories that well, okay? So calm down. And yeah, they've always done this. So like I now have like the majority of like the family just a strained relationship with them because they blame me for like the relationship falling off. And I'm like, why was I the child held like you're saying I don't care about you, but like what about you to me? Like I don't remember anybody
Mhm.
trying to reach out to me, trying to contact me. And so like I could understand maybe more as an adult, but I was not an adult. I was a child. Like and
Mhm.
like I said, we moved here, like we weren't like financially well off. Like I didn't get a phone for a few years, for like that contacting. I was a little iPad kid, but not like modern day iPad kid. Okay, there was no endless YouTubes in a restaurant for me. I would have gotten smacked for doing that.
True.
But I just, you know, I just like there's like always been that expectation, and so now I have like a strained relationship with like my outside family because like oh he didn't call us or whatever, and like even so like recently my siblings they went away to New York and Pennsylvania for a week. And everyone's like, oh, the kids haven't called. And I'm like, why haven't you called the kids? Like, you're the adult. You should call the kids. Like,
Yeah.
why haven't you? Like my siblings are like, I did like tease my sister and Jess, like, because she did say, oh, I'll call you every day, but she didn't. But like,
Mm.
I still picked up the phone and I called because I'm like, I'm the adult in the
Yeah.
relationship.
You're an
I
adult
can,
now, yeah.
I have to reach out, for me, it's like about setting a good example about communication because like if they're raised seeing that oh I'll reach out to people like just see how you're doing on vacation, how are you enjoying yourself. Like for them, that's like oh this is kind of like the normal expectation. For me, I didn't have that.
True.
I just saw oh you move away and nobody reaches out to you. That's it. So I just kind of I was chilling like a villain over here, because that
Mhm.
was just
Mhm.
that's just basically what I felt like in the family. It's like the black sheep, like literally look at my complexion, the black sheep, and also just
Whoa! Why did you make it all about racism? I'm kidding.
oh my god. Sometimes I just love making like being so like such a diverse background and like
Yeah.
having I'd say I've been the least involved in like Chinese culture. I've still been exposed to it a lot because it's
Mhm.
prominent in Guyana. But I
Yeah.
just love making certain racial jokes and people like get like really confused because they're like, what the fuck? And I'm just
Excuse
like,
me, I just told you that I'm Chinese.
I know,
I'm
but like,
kidding.
I, I don't know. It doesn't matter who it is. I just like making certain people uncomfortable, and
I
just like
feel
see their
that.
reaction.
I feel that. I feel
So,
that.
but yeah, it's like,
But I feel like
but
that we have covered a lot
yes,
in the podcast, and I appreciate you disclosing a lot about your background and the experiences you've had. I appreciate you being comfortable enough about talking about it, because I mean, like for me, I'm very comfortable about talking about my backgrounds and the things that are going on and stuff like that because it's not talked about too much. So then, like like
yeah, I
I
feel
don't.
like the
I
conversation needs
want
to be had.
I want to normalize it, So like I don't really
Yeah,
give a fuck about like talking about things that are supposed to be, like that you're not supposed to talk about and say things like,
taboo.
what our
Yeah, the
parents. Yeah,
family talks.
exactly. Um so I appreciate you being comfortable and like, talking to me about this and all that. I feel like we both had like
I've just scratched the surface.
very I know, I feel that. I have had very similar experiences to you. A few of them definitely not, like especially because I'm in just like a plain old yellow Asian fucking background, very, very similar morals and things like that. That like, like I don't have no melting pot other than just being born here in America compared to my parents. So I say like, yeah, I've experienced a lot of the things that you've experienced, and like my sympathies to you, your sympathies to me, but like, hey, we're still like bad bitches at the end of the day, so like it really don't matter.
Yes.
Um, but this is a good time to end the podcast. We went a little bit over the hour, which is fine, but of course, like we kept the conversation going, lots of
We're in the TikTok
information.
era. Everybody's got a short attention span. I understand. It's okay, people. Take breaks. Come back every 10 to 15 minutes.
Exactly. Like if y'all gotta pause, just come back. Just come back. Um, but we could definitely continue this conversation on another episode and definitely do a part 2 to go a little bit more into like other things, go a little more into specifically the raising a child when you're a child because you are a third parent. That's something that I definitely want to go over. Maybe going over a little bit more about experiences I've had that are very similar to yours, things like that. If you guys want to definitely have that episode, or of course if Natalia wants to have that second episode, I am more than willing to do that episode. But to keep it in around the 1-ish hour mark, I do need to end the podcast here. So thank you guys so much. And thank you, Natalia, for being a special guest on this episode.
No
Thank you guys,
problem.
everybody, for listening. If you guys are listening on any podcasting, broadcasting application or website. And thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, or whatever time it is for you guys. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye 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 bye. Definitely follow Little Miss Natalia or Little Miss Bambi here at Bambiosa, BAMBIOSAA, on Instagram and whatever other platforms that you can find her on. But see you guys later.
Don't touch my profile.
Bye bye.